I've been reading one of the masters again today, this morning. In this case, Seneca. And if I call someone a master, it means I read them every day. So I won't even bother recommending it to you. But certainly, we are made up of who we hang out with all day, whose influence we are under. And if you read Seneca every day, or many days of the week, you certainly stand to benefit from it. So that's why he's one of the masters, because he certainly is someone whom you can't just read once or twice. It's someone you want to be with every day. And today, in letter 28, he is talking about those kinds of people that we all know and might be ourselves, who constantly want to be somewhere else. They want to, in order to relax, in order to take their mind off, in order to recharge their batteries, they constantly dream of being this or that place, and finally to be away from wherever they are now and be done with whatever they're doing right now, especially concerning things that they have to be doing for longer periods of time, like an intense period at work or the holidays, or etc. And we certainly know people like this, and we often feel that way ourselves. And Seneca talks about how we cannot outrun ourselves, meaning most of the time, if not all of the time, when we are displeased with our current location or situation or people around us, it's usually ourselves, some part of ourselves that we're displeased with, and we're trying to get away from it and think that an actual physical change of location, of scenery, might do the trick. That this is not the case will become obvious to you with a simple example a smaller instance that will demonstrate the larger problem here, that I often run across in my own daily life and just observing other people, is we all have those people that for whatever reason are in our lives, but that we don't necessarily want to be under the influence of. Like I talked about before, you want to have the influence on people, and you want to be influenced by people that you think somehow contribute to your character or make you better. At least you should. And there are those people that just don't do that, and we don't want to spend much time with them, but somehow maybe they're our relatives or in-laws or some friend that we've been friends with for a long time and that we're loyal to, but really we would not pick them as friends with the mind that we have now, the character that we have now, or the goals that we're pursuing now. So what happens is, every time they ask us out to go somewhere or just to spend time together, we come up with excuses, right? We say, I'm busy, or I can't today, this or that's going on, I'm not in town, etc., etc. And what do we expect, really, when we think about it? We know that putting them off one time at a time is not going to solve the issue, because we keep making excuses to avoid an inherently flawed relationship. It's not really that we're too busy. It's not really that we can't meet because of this or that. It's because we don't want to. It's not that we can't, it's that we won't and don't want to, and that's okay. But we keep staggering the relationship in this way. We keep putting it off, and the problem just keeps getting worse, and we actually become, while it was perfectly fine not to want to be with a person or see a person at all, we actually become guilty by putting someone off. because we make promises by saying, oh, it's only this time that I can't. We make a promise for the next time. We keep coming up with single individual excuses for an inherently flawed relationship. Because we're afraid of making grand and total and final decisions. But we owe it to ourselves to make those decisions if, of course, we feel that they're necessary. And for that, we first have to examine our beliefs, and we need to make sure that that's what we really want, that's what we really need. That's a whole nother issue. But if we have come to that clear conclusion that this is just not the right person for us, there's nothing wrong with not wanting to see with someone. We can't be with everyone. But it is wrong to put someone off with excuses that don't really address the root cause and that are, in effect, dishonest. And it's the exact same thing we do with ourselves. It's crazy when we are inherently afraid of some big thing. We keep running away. We keep saying, oh, I just need a time off. I just need a change of scenery. I just need to not be doing this for a while. And of course, sometimes that is the solution. Sometimes we just need a break from things. But once again, we often do this with things that are inherently problematic, that need a fundamental solution that we're just not giving it. So if we have a problem with ourselves, if we hate the work that we do, if we cannot handle stress, any amount of it, if we just can't, we don't have the durability or the stamina to go through situations that are very normal, that everyone has to go through, then the problem lies with us and not with the situation. And outrunning this or that occurrence of that fundamental problem is not a fix, and it only makes us more stressed, more tired, which fuels that whole process of wanting rest, wanting a change of scenery, and the whole idea of running away from everything. Whereas, as Seneca also says, a mind that realizes it has a problem and fixes a problem fundamentally at the root can handle not only the amount of stress it was experiencing before because of whatever lack in its character, but much more than that. And in fact, while before we were sick and tired of perfectly ordinary and pleasant life situations, we now become almost immune to any life situation, any stressful thing that might be going on, because we've found peace within. We are so happy with our character, our personality, the way we do things. We're so in peace with everything because we're not being dishonest. We're not putting things off. We're not giving singular wrong excuses to avoid a fundamental general problem, that we are so pleased. And by the way, by doing it that way, of course, we avoid a lot of stress and are just peaceful and at ease because of that, but also because of the fact that we know that we handle things the right way and the honest way and the proper way, that hardly anything can stress us out anymore. Because what is a noisy room to someone who used to be stressed out, who has come to love spending time with themselves and just doesn't need other people to entertain them or to be around interesting people all the time to feel happy and engaged with the situation? You can always turn a worse situation into a better one by simply having that inner mindset of, even if a situation is too stressful than you'd normally like, it might still be interesting. I mean, how people act this way, what's going on, what has people
what the reason is for people to be this loud in this situation, or whatever's going on. You can be a silent observer. You can find it interesting. And soon enough, the situation will end, and you'll be back to what you're doing anyway. The point is that we should not let external circumstances constantly bring us out of this idea that now, this very moment, is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if we keep not working on ourselves, having these, let's say, weaknesses in our character where we can't handle stress, we can't handle annoying people, we can't handle crowded places, then we're constantly in a position of, I don't want to be here, and I don't want to be here now. And we constantly look to the future or look to the past, and we're just uncomfortable in the now. But the now is all we have. So that just creates a bad habit, a bad circumstance of life. Constantly wishing to be in the future, constantly wishing to be somewhere else than we are now. But Seneca says, a mind that is settled, a character that is at peace with itself, will always be home wherever it is, both in location and in time. So I thought I owe this to you, what I read today, what it made me think about today, and I think it might help you as well. Just start attacking the inherent problems in your relationships, the inherent problems in your relationship with yourself, instead of constantly finding temporary, I don't even want to call them fixes, but something that makes you temporarily feel better and doesn't fix the grander problem. In fact, makes it worse. Give that some thought. I think we all have both physical places and mental places in our character that needs this kind of work, and that where we've been avoiding the general issue. And once we work on it, once we solve a big issue that's been inherent in our lives, everything becomes so much easier. It becomes easier to fix other such problems. And at some point, there just isn't much left, and you feel this great bliss and ease and just happiness. That's what it is. It's happiness.